Here we have the Carolina Saphire cultivar of Arizona cypress. And I think I've shown this before. Very fast growing, bluish colored foliage, tolerates heat and drought. And if you plant it in Tennessee or anywhere in the Southwest that gets plenty of water, it grows insanely fast. But now let's take a look up. And I don't know if you can tell that, but everything is tilted sideways on my Arizona cypress. Why is that? Because we had heavy snow, and unlike these Thuya green giants right next to them, which remain perfectly straight because they shed the snow, Arizona cypress just builds up snow. It has what I would say weak roots, weak wood, and a tendency to lean over and not recover after ice or heavy snow. So I'm going to say that's a pretty major drawback if you go to all the trouble of planting and growing this tree and then you're one snowstorm away from pretty much a total loss, because I can't even push these trees back up. They've been partially uprooted. The wood has been permanently deformed, and it's just kind of an annoying. See, I even had a stake there holding it up. With that's plastic coated hollow steel tubing from Lowe's, some wire and some tree friendly material there to hold it so I didn't damage the trunk. But even that wasn't enough. It's got even a tripod here. That wasn't enough to hold up the tree, obviously, because the weight is, I don't know, 100 pounds of heavy snow if you add it all up. And now they're sideways, which you can see here by comparing to the trees in the background. So pretty bad result here. I'll show you another one. Okay, a few of them weren't affected. This one here seems to have weathered the storm well, but there's one. You can see it hanging out to the side at a pretty severe angle. There's no real way to straighten it back up. I may actually remove that one. The other few, not as badly affected, a little tilted. Let's look at another. Okay, here's one. It's mostly straight up until a certain point, and now it's angled over to the side. And I may actually trim this at one point where it starts bending and let one of those side branches take over as the new leader. I think this species is good at establishing a new leader, so that's one positive. And that brings me to my overall theory about this tree, is that it grows too fast in Tennessee because of the plentiful water and fertile soils compared to its native Arizona. So the key may be actually to trim it and prune it as it grows to keep it from growing so fast so that it has time to establish better roots and a stronger trunk. So I'm going to try that to salvage a few that are totally lost I will get rid of, but I'm going to go the route of pruning. But before we leave this species entirely, I've got to show you a contrasting result. Now this is the same species, Arizona cypress, but a different cultivar. It's called blue ice, and it is slower growing, and because of that, it wasn't really affected at all by the snow. Here's another one. They do get really big. This one must be at least 15 feet tall. But once again, it's slower growing, and I've continually pruned away the branches that turn vertical. You can see here, this one here internally has a branch that's starting to turn vertical. I'm going to prune that to keep it going horizontal because I don't want it to have any vertical leaders other than the main trunk. That's the key to maintaining strength in this type of tree, I believe. That's my theory anyway. Here's another one right over here. And even though it's right up against these Leland cypresses behind, which I may trim a little on those, it wasn't affected. Doesn't really have a lane. Maybe a very slight at the top, but that'll straighten. So the blue ice cultivar is better. It's slower growing, but it's actually a little bluer, a little more showy, and I don't think it needs as much maintenance, but they both need maintenance, in my opinion, to keep them from establishing multiple leaders and to keep them from growing too fast outward or upward even, in the case of Carolina Saphire. I think with blue ice, you can let it grow up as much as you want, but on the Carolina Saphire, I'm going to trim the top side of a few to slow them down.